comic creators, artists, writers, world builders, this is your call to action. Here at Talking Comics, we love diving into the stories behind the stories. Whether you're just starting out or you've been in the game for years, we want to hear your journey, your creative process, and what fuels your imagination. So, ready to talk comics with us? Message us or hit the link in our bio and be a guest on Talking Comics. Welcome to Talking Comics. I appreciate you joining.
Well, thank you for letting me be on here.
Yeah, man. This week we got DeWayne Doherty, author of Liar, and some others too, right?
Yeah, Blood Sable and Crescent Blue, and my first kid's book, Shape Master, which was pretty cool. That I did that one for my son too, which was awesome.
Awesome. And a kid's book.
Yeah.
Well, before we go into all your comics, give us a little background about yourself.
Well, I am DeWayne Doherty. I grew up in Arkansas. Went to school at a little tiny 964, population town called Magazine, Arkansas. I had, the blessings to go play college football at a HBCU, Arkansas Baptist College. I played there for 2 years, and then I went and played at Pecan College in Muskogee for a year. And then after that, I went back to Arkansas Baptist College, and I coached the running backs there for a semester, which was pretty awesome. So I got all that in for a little while. I did all my dreams there. I got to play and coach. And then after that, I decided to move to Oklahoma. I met my wife, and around when my son was born in 2015, I started having a bunch of, inspirations to get back into art because I picked it up in high school. I was good at doing portraits of people like Abraham Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt. I used to do awesome on portraits and stuff like that. And so when my wife finally, saw some of my art, she's like, "Hey, honey, just create your own stuff." She said, "I think you'll be good at doing it." So one of my first characters was Blood Sable. I made it for my son. He has autism, and I wanted to make a character that, represented his strength. But then I created Crescent Blue. He's my bubble manipulating master because I love mages in any type of form of media. So I wanted my own type of, crazy looking mage. And then I made Liar, one of my own kind of demon character. So I just started in 2015, started my own little universe and just started building my own little world. And so far, thank God I've had a couple books, published, and I'm slowly just churning the tables, and I'm here with Liar now. So life's come full circle. I just wanted to do art and play football, and so far I've been able to accomplish both of those. Yeah, so
Yeah,
the blessings
can't get much
came my
better
way.
than that.
Yeah, and I have a family. I wanted to have my own family one day, so I got 3 for 1 special.
3 for 1. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Did you do the first 2 on Kickstarter as well, or?
Yeah, I did Crescent Blue first on Kickstarter, and it funded. I asked for a $500 goal, and it went across, got 500 for that, which was awesome. And then I did Blood Sable, and that one was my biggest. I asked for 800. I got almost 1,000 on that one, so that one was pretty awesome. And then I did Shape Master. I wanted to see if people wanted to enjoy my first kid's book. Credit for my son. My son is pretty much my biggest inspiration for coming back into art. So when I did Shape Master, I did just a small go to see if anybody was, wanted to get it for their kids, and people showed up for that, which was pretty awesome. So Shape Master did good, and now I'm here with Liar, my first horror comic that I've had behind the scenes for like 2 or 3 years. I started drawing it in 2019, and now I'm here in 2025. So it's been a while. So I'm blessed to be here to do Liar.
That's awesome, man. What advice would you give other people doing Kickstarter?
Make sure you have your rewards ahead of time. Make sure you plan what you want to put out there. Because when I first started Kickstarter, I was like throwing things at the wall, hoping they would stick. I think honestly, you need to make sure you plan before you just get on to Kickstarter. You need to make sure you have the tools ahead of time. You got to have the arrows in your quiver. You can't just go in there and be like, I'm
Right.
just gonna ask for this amount of money and hope people want to get it. It's not how it works that way. People they quick at looking at stuff, and if they see something they like, they'll buy it. So make sure you have the best art available. Make sure you have everything done, because people love to get books that are done first. I've seen that time and time again. People don't like to wait years for books. I've seen it on Kickstarter. There's been people who've waited over 3 years for a book, and it's not done. People hate artists and creators like that who make you wait for years. They don't like that at all.
Right.
And it'll destroy your Kickstarter campaign as soon as you launch it. If you say, I'm not done with the book yet, you might as well just cancel your project, because it's not going to get funded. I've seen it happen time and time again.
Right. I dealt with that in the board game industry. I backed several. I used to own a board game store, and I would bought back several board games, but they took, a year and a half, 2 years to come in. And it's like you almost
Yeah,
forget you bought it, and then the box shows up one day,
yeah.
2 years later, and you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah, I've seen it on Kickstarter. Like people are like, "Hey, I've got the concepts for my book, but I'm not finished, so I
right.
need the funds to help me finish." And then I'm like, I sit there and I go, I talk to my wife because I like to blurt out to her. I'm like, they're not going to fund, and I call it ahead of time because if people in comics they want their stuff as soon as the Kickstarter's over,
As soon as it is,
either they want the digital stuff or they want to get their physical stuff as soon as possible. They don't want to wait a year or two, and you give them updates saying here's one page, here's another, because they're putting out their money to you. So I always try to make sure when I do my Kickstarter campaigns to let everyone know that it's done ahead of time. I did pretty much all the projects myself. I've had a couple of great people in my corner to help me with a few things that I needed to get done. So I made sure that whenever I launch, I have everything ready to go. I have a proof, like I said, I have proof of my books too, so people can see, hey, he's putting his money where his mouth is. He has stuff with him right now, so I can show people that it's done. And
yeah,
that's what I think the biggest thing. Yeah,
that was gonna be one of my compliments to you. Was like, man, it's like you almost have this done already,
yeah, like
before you
right
even
here.
launched the
Yeah,
Kickstarter.
it's like if
Yeah,
you can
like you
see it,
have it
like
right there
yeah,
in your hand.
yeah, like
That's awesome.
make sure you have the book. At least show a proof of your
Show
book.
something, yeah,
Yeah,
in
because so
hand.
people can be like, hey, I'm gonna get it now because he's showing me he did it ahead of time. So that's what I think that's what most artists need to make sure they do is to have great rewards. Don't go over budget and go crazy because remember, if you have artists, I'm lucky that I pretty much do everything myself. Make sure you have
Right.
the cash available to pay your artists so you don't have to sit there for a long time. If you have people on your team, you know, deliver on your promises because people will remember that in future campaigns. They will remember if you messed around and lied to them because a
Oh yeah,
customer
for
once
sure.
you lie to a customer, they won't come
They're
back.
done.
And I've
They're
seen it
done.
time and time again. Like if you say you have something and it's not done, they're gonna leave. They won't come back.
What kind of marketing do you do
I
other
I go
than obviously podcasts?
I go on Facebook. I pretty much call comic book shops here in Oklahoma. I have my own print link with Mixum, so people, if they don't want to back my Kickstarter, when my Kickstarters are funded, I usually right after they're funded, I go on and put my books on Mixum, so people who didn't back the book, they can go buy it
Have a
off my
place to buy
Mixum,
it.
and they can
Perfect.
get it instantly. And then I'm trying to get into cons now, which is pretty cool. Nick Goltra from TulsaCon, I sent him my Blood Sable book, and he's already want me to come to Comic Cons next year, and I plan to come to one in October. I think it's called Tulsa Horror Con. So I plan to just
Okay.
show up there and show some love and show my books off over there. So yeah, I've been trying to,
That'll be
do
amazing.
that. I share my stuff on pages on Facebook, and I have my own YouTube. So whenever I do videos and stuff, I show people processes and time lapse of, things I'm doing with my books and stuff. So people can see that too. So I try to go everywhere.
What's your YouTube?
It's Rydeshow. It's Rydescho. It's my wife and son's name put together.
Right. So RYD. Yep.
ESCHO. Yeah.
CHO. Okay. I'll make sure
Yeah,
to put that in the
and I have a
links.
and I have a link tree so people can
Okay.
check out my
Perfect.
link tree and stuff on Kickstarter. I think it's
Make
on my
Is your
Facebook
link
and
tree on your
it should be.
Instagram?
It should be. It should be like the first
Let's
link.
double check.
And if it's not, it's probably going to be my Mixum. But I'm
It's
pretty sure it's my link tree.
well, right now it's a Kickstarter, so
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I'll put it back up there on my I know it's
yeah.
probably on
Okay.
my Wakeverse account, so I'm gonna put it back up there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, let's look at the Wakeverse account. That was one of my next questions. Yeah,
yeah, and
there's
I
your
have an
Mixum
alternate.
and
Yeah,
your Kickstarter.
I
Perfect. Yeah, I
didn't
will
know.
put these up there.
Yeah, yeah, because I like
My
I
next
said,
question was, what was the Wakeverse? Because is that like your publishing company behind the
yeah, that's
scenes?
my little publishing
Your little
company.
company?
Like,
Okay.
and yeah, and it's not a multiverse. I try to keep everything in the Milky Way galaxy. Try to keep it, in a tight continuum. I don't want to have multiverses. We may have alternate versions of characters, because the Milky Way galaxy it's massive, so we might see alternate versions of the same characters from different stars and different planets away. But I want to make sure
Okay.
everything like is in continuity into one little space. You know, I have a couple of characters in the future that won't be coming back, so I plan to have some good juicy bits that here and there in the future. But yeah, I want to make sure I do Crescent Blue, did it first, Blood Sable, do Liar, because those were the first three guys I had my stories done, and then do my Silent Thunder character, Flash Wave, Zoo Jack. I'm gonna have my Red Cloud Force team that I already inked and put some flats on. So Red Cloud Force is gonna be done soon. And then I have a
So
glow
you're
stick.
writer and artist and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, and
Sweet, dude.
I love it. I love doing that. I love taking
Sweet.
the time to, and
How
I have
long
a.
does it take to
It
make one
usually
comic?
one comic I usually take about 6 or 7 months, usually give or take.
Okay.
Like I try to work on them during like my Kickstarters and during like my downtime. So I'll pretty much in the next couple of months I'll be done with my Red Cloud Force story. So I'll be done doing that one because I'll be doing Liar. Take some time off until January, February, and then I'll be done with that. And then work on my one shot glow stick story. I'm probably gonna have that one on. I'm gonna try fund my comic with that one. See how that does over there. So just
Sweet.
trying different avenues with where people would want to see my stuff. So I'm trying to expand everywhere I can. I have a lot of good friends who help me. I'm pretty sure I need to start emailing lists. So yeah, I got things in my head that I want to do to expand it even further. So yeah,
Take notes.
everyone who's been in the game before me, I always ask them. Like my friends at Cats of Craze,
Yeah.
Sam and you know Medina over there with Wonder Duck and Duty. I talked to them a lot, and they gave me some good advice. And Comic Crusaders, Omega, he's given me some great advice on stuff too. So yeah, I take all the people who's been here for years before me. I take all that all that juice in and just soak it up and be like, how can I just do as good or better?
Yeah, I love that. And I
Yeah,
love how your Kickstarter has the blank cover idea. I'm stealing that.
yeah,
I know everybody does that, but I'm
yeah.
stealing it from you. Just so you know, I'm stealing it from you.
Yeah, like I said, if people want to draw their own liar, if they want me to, I'll draw a liar on the front if they want me to. It don't
Right.
matter because I would
That's
love to
pretty
give
cool.
people. Yeah, I want people to enjoy making if they want to make their own liar or if they want me to. I don't bother me. I love drawing my characters. I know Crescent Blue and Blood Sable and Liar like the back of my hand. I can draw them all day without any question.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I wish I could draw. I'm going through this whole process of, comics and, doing the show, and I do the show with my daughter once a week as well.
yeah,
Her and I do that show, which is a lot of fun. We created, Panel Pete, my little mascot here.
yeah.
It's
That's
like
so
a
cool.
comic panel.
I like that logo. I thought that was pretty neat.
So we're writing a comic, and but I just don't. I'm gonna have to probably hire an artist because I'm not good enough to draw all of that. So not how I want it and I envision it. I'm
Yeah,
not good enough.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
and
looking for an artist.
yeah, I know a couple of good artists. I know a
Sweet.
couple. Yeah, so I'll definitely send their names to you because there's a couple of good
Yeah.
ones, like smaller guys who who do great jobs. I'll shout one guy out that I know who I wish I had
Sure.
on Blood Sable who did like the first 6 mock pages. His name was Frankie D Man. He has like a manga type style. He loves to draw Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. So Frankie D
Cool.
Man, he has a great style. Love his like Dragon Ball Z type of stuff. I wanted that for Blood Sable. And then my friend John, he did the pencils and inks, and I colored everything. John Coates, who's the
Sweet.
owner of Enemy Entertainment. So he did the pencils and inks for Blood Sable. I did all the coloring and all the lettering, and pretty much wrote Blood Sable, my character. So it was cool to have him in my corner on that Blood Sable issue 1, and I plan to do issue 2, 3, 4 myself because I know
Very
how I
cool.
want the art to look for that. So yeah, Blood
Right.
Table issue 2. I already have the first 4 covers already drawn for that one, all, and I love them. I love them so much the way I put them together. I'm glad because at first I was a traditional artist, and then I was talking to my wife one night, and I was like, I want to get doing digital and try to enhance the art a little more. Liar's my last traditional artwork before everything else is going to be pretty much digital inks and stuff like that. So Liar's the last one. I penciled and inked it, and then I digitally colored it. So Liar's
Okay.
the last little traditional type
So you're
of
gonna
art
try to
style I did.
draw. That was one of my next questions too. If you were digitally or traditionally or a mixture of both. So I guess it's
I
a
do
mixture
I
of
do
both.
both. I do both.
Yeah.
Like I recently when we were leaving, we went to the library and I had they had this little notepad and I grabbed a pencil and I just drew Blood Sable, Crescent Blue, and Liar traditionally, and then I took the pictures of them and then I just put them together digitally. So I'll be showing those off soon because I had
Very
fun just
cool.
drawing my characters like that.
Yeah.
I try to if I want to just because I might with glow stick. I have all the pages right now. I might pull out my pad and do what I did with other stories and just do mock mocks, drawings of each panel and then put it into Procreate and then actually draw over it digitally. So that's pretty much my plan all the time. I usually do traditional like kind of sketches and then I go into Procreate and just finish it all up that way.
Do you have any specific rituals or habits when creating that you have to do?
I have to make sure that, when I do a story, I write it out all first. I don't like to create a story until it's done. Like I just don't. I guess it's just a weird thing for me. I just like to write my stuff out first. I love to sit and enjoy the creativity up here and then write stuff out. And then when I'm making a comic, do it each panel the way I just do it the way I wrote it, and it comes out even better with the way when I read it and then I draw it. I'm like, oh, that's exactly how I wanted it because I thought of it that
That's
way. So
well,
that's
that's
usually how
good.
I do it. And
That's
then usually when I'm
perfect.
and then usually when I'm just drawing, I like to watch other artists draw while I'm drawing. So it gives me like some extra creative juices. I don't know why. I enjoy listening to, you know, just artists doing their techniques, and I just like to sit and draw. And that inspires me the most is when I see other artists creating their original characters. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go draw my characters now. So I always like to do that too. So yeah, pretty much. And then when I'm sitting around the house, I like to just create old artwork that I have. I like to see if I'm better at my stuff, at my, craft. I usually go back and I pick other art from, years ago. And I'm like, how can I enhance it and make it better? So I love to do that as well. I love to, before I do a comic, I like to go back and see how I've done, since then. And so far, I'm lucky. I've gotten better, and I'm going to continue to get better. I still have to work on my coloring and shading a little bit, but I love the way I'm doing my poses and stuff, trying to make sure the body and anatomy looks really good. So I'm glad I'm doing that a lot better nowadays.
Yeah, it looks good. The stuff you sent me, it was pretty good. What is your biggest challenges you faced in creating art?
Biggest challenges definitely was, trying to get people to love my characters as much as I do. I think when you try to create, your own independent stuff, you want to have people enjoy your stuff as much as you do. And it's been challenging, at first when I did Crescent Blue, I love Crescent Blue. He's literally the mascot of my world. Second is Blood Sable for sure. Those two characters are I enjoy those two with all my heart, and I have sequels for them already written down for years to come. And it's always hard to say enjoy. I hope you back my project because I put my hard work into it. And I hope you love these characters as much as I do. And just trying to get that audience is harder than some people make it seem. Like the people who've been in the
Sure,
business for a long time, they make it look easy. They make it look so easy to be able to get people behind their projects and stuff like that. So yeah, being independent, you have to grind a little harder. And sometimes it doesn't feel like it's rewarding, but so far I've been lucky. Like I said, I haven't made huge, Kickstarter, hundreds of thousands, but I'm proud that every time I get to a project and it funds, I did it. I did. I set out my, goal. It got completed, and that means I can move on and do bigger and better things. So it just shows me like, hey, you're there. Just got to keep grinding. So that's what I
keep
usually
grinding.
do.
That's where
Yeah,
we're at.
yeah,
I like, talking about that and like how we're all in this together. We're all here to help each other. And, you know, I'm not big, by any means, but if I can help one person see your book, that's enough for me, right? Like that's
yeah.
amazing.
That's all
And
that
just
matters to me.
slowly
I
grow and we'll get there together.
Yeah, and since I had my Mixum when I finally have my print link put up, I've had people buy my book. I've never had people buy my books off a website before. So when I finally was
Awesome.
able to do my own print link, I've had people say, "Hey, I went to your Mixum and I bought your books," and I was like, it just yesterday one person bought one book and it was Blood Sable and I was like, yes. I was just sitting there fist bumping in the air because I was like, that's so cool that someone decided to stop
Someone
by and
bought
buy
that
it.
you don't,
Yeah,
that you don't know, bought your
yeah,
book that you worked on. I mean, yeah, it's got to be very,
yeah. Like
very rewarding.
it is
Rewarding.
so much.
Jeez,
Yeah, like anybody
that's
who's
awesome
an independent creator, just
for
that
sure.
even if it's just a little book, if you create it and someone gets it, it means the hard work is paying off, and that's
It
really
paid
the
off.
best for me. Yeah.
Do you put any Easter eggs in your books?
Yes, I have Easter eggs in Liar, so we'll get to because Liar was in Crescent Blue. We got to see those two fight.
Sweet.
Because yeah. So I don't want to give too much away for Crescent Blue, but that was a great story that I enjoyed. I wanted Crescent Blue to have a adversary in his life show up, and Liar showed up, and we got to see that battle. And then in Liar, we get to see the consequences of that battle. We get to see a villain that I've had for years, Crescent Blue's original villain. So we'll get to see Liar talk to that original villain. They get to chat about the fight that happened. And Liar's kind of skittish because he doesn't like this villain. This villain is a very powerful villain, and so he's not trying to run his mouth to this guy. And so we get to enjoy that. And then in my Red Cloud Force story that I'm doing, I got a couple little hidden little Easter eggs in like some of the spaceships and stuff. So you'll see cool little logos and stuff put in there. So
That's cool.
Yeah, I try to put a little bit in every story that I have, just a little sneaky in there.
Trying to start a podcast but feeling stuck? At Aquadio, we help creators make waves with everything you need to bring your voice to life. Hosting, recording, editing, and marketing. Whether you're starting from scratch or just need a little help polishing your sound, we're here to hydropower your creativity. Comment on this video or DM us today and let's dive in. We just finished up it was almost perfect timing because you finished the Easter egg question. So my next question was, and I think I already know the answer to this, but which one's your personal favorite? Which character is your personal favorite?
Oh, that's a hard one. But I honestly, in my opinion, it's not Crescent Blue or Blood Sable. It's actually my Red Cloud Force team that I plan to come out with because I made that one all on my own.
Okay.
That one is an awesome one that I made, because my wife, she helped me create Crescent.
Okay.
My son helped me create Blood Sable.
Very cool.
And so when I wanted to create something for myself, my Red Cloud Force team was something that I wanted to do because I love Mass Effect. I love outer space and sci-fi stuff like that. So I wanted to create my own commander, and his name is Commander Usamna. And I came up with that name because I used to be a CNA.
Okay.
So I wanted to use the CNA term for a commander. So when I created Commander Usamna, I just wanted an awesome commander who held down the fort, who created, who commanded his will across, Pluto. So people get to see his just great commanding skills and his strength and how he loves his home world and how he loves, taking care of people that are in his corner. So yeah, and that's a 24-page book that I just had so much fun creating that little world. And the Rocketeer was another inspiration for my, Red Cloud Force and the Power Rangers kind of sort of.
Okay.
So it was like when I created my Red Cloud Force commander, I was like, I wanted him to pretty much be a character that I've seen through like my coaches and people that have, supported me and showed motivation in my life. So I wanted to have him be just the one character who comes in, we'll see him in later issues who's like, I'll help this team as much as I can, as best as I can, and we're going to get everybody out alive. So my Red Cloud Force is the thing that I love the most, honestly. And I can't wait for it to come out next year. It's just going to be a blast. You get to see all the characters I created all on my own.
Heck yeah.
You get to enjoy, like, if people love Guardian of the Galaxy and stuff like that, they'll get to enjoy these characters in that book. Because I'm showing off every character that I've made in that book. You'll get to see either on 1 page or 2 page. So we'll get to see my commander and his brother. You'll get to see the flag, the representation of my Red Cloud Force. You'll get to see the world and the enemies of that world, the Dimnek. So you'll get to see the villains there, and you'll get to see Cypherus, who's the big main villain in that one. And you'll get to see a lot of great stuff. I don't care if I spoil it. I love doing that. I'm still enjoying putting the colors on it, and the way I wrote it. I think people are gonna love Commander Usamna. I think they're gonna enjoy the way he just makes sure his team is his uptight priority, and the people that he protects are important to him. So he's literally just a one-man wrecking crew. So if you like Judge Dredd and stuff like that, you're definitely gonna love my Red Cloud Force story.
Well, I would have got it wrong because I didn't even know about that character yet. So,
well, yeah, I'll send you an email and show you
that'd be awesome.
Some of the covers. I'll spoil it.
Well, you'll have to be back on when it comes out. next year. I'll have you back on, and you can.
Yeah, I plan to have
show
it.
off.
I plan to launch it on my birthday in May. So
Okay.
in May it'll be done. So I plan to launch
Very
it on my
cool.
birthday.
Yeah, let me know ahead of time because I'm booked through the end of October at the moment, which is crazy. So
you're good.
I'm starting to book November right now. It's insane.
You're
it's
good,
awesome,
man. That means people are. Yeah, that means people enjoy coming on. That's
I mean, that's
thing
what
to
I
have.
love about it. if you would have told me 6 months ago that I'd be doing this, I was like, you're crazy. But here I am. I'm over
Yeah,
30 episodes in.
podcasts are, yeah, that's awesome. 30, that means it's slowly getting bigger and bigger. Pretty
Yep,
soon you'll have 100. You'll be on your 100th episode, and then 200.
exactly. So
Yeah,
my
so it's coming,
I
man.
have a lot of fun with my daughter too. We have it can be a pain sometimes because she's 10, but she can, drag out an episode, but a lot of editing sometimes, but it's so much fun though. And we get to read comics
It's
together.
all good. That's awesome.
You've already kind of touched on a couple, like almost every one of my questions already, which is funny, but go more into like the inspiration behind, what's your biggest inspiration for all of it? Like just creating comics, what got you into that?
What got me into that? Oh man, my dad. I've said this on almost every interview. My dad had this one tape, VHS, when I was growing up, and it had all these amazing '90s style, the '90s stuff. It had Bump in the Night. It had all the King Arthur and the Kings of the Round Table. It had some '80s shows. I can't remember off the top of my head. It had Samurai Ninja Cats on there. It had or the Pizza Samurai Cats. It had Carmen Sandiego on there. It had a bunch of
Love
'90s
Carmen.
stuff. But there's one that stuck out to me the most, and I love it to this day. It was Techno Man.
Okay.
When Slade holds up the green crystal and he asks for techno power, that's when I got into art. As soon as I saw that intro to Techno Man, when he goes techno power and it goes dun 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 dun. I love that little intro to that awesome animated show, and it just made me just click. I was like, I want to create my own stuff. And so stuff like that is awesome. And I grew up on Cartoon Network. I love DBZ. I actually recorded my first video when Goku was fighting Frieza on Namek. I actually had that on VHS. I recorded it, and so that also was something that got me into art and stuff like that. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
those two for sure. Techno Man and Dragon Ball Z were the things that got me into art.
I love that. You already touched on this too, but like, what do you want readers to feel when they walk, or take away when they read one of your issues?
I just want them to see the love that I put into it. I just want people to know that if they want to get into art, that they can do it too. That I'm a guy who's doing it pretty much on my own, and if they have an idea that they want to put on paper, just do it because I'm doing it. I want people to see that I can do it, and I just want people to see in my stories that I just put all the love and effort that I can into them. And that's my main goal is when people pick up a book, they get to see the hard work that's behind it, and if they see that and want to draw, that means I did a good job in portraying what I try to put out there. So people enjoy reading my stuff and want to get into art and create their own books. And I did my job. I did the best I could, and that's all I can ask for. Because I think everybody has a little creativity in them
Oh,
somewhere.
100%. Indeed. Doing these episodes, with all the creators has inspired me. Everyone inspires me in another way or another idea, to put in mine or my comic or my release or my whatever. We're going to start doing conventions and stuff. We're going to get booths and stuff. I'm committed to one in May in Michigan. And so I'm going to definitely be there. I'll be out in Oklahoma next summer too. I usually go every summer. I go to Oklahoma a couple weeks to visit family. So I'm hoping I get to find some stuff out there. And yeah, it'll be fun. But I actually have a time frame. May. I want to release my comic in May by Memorial Day next year. So that's my goal.
That's awesome. That's a good time.
Alrighty. So if who would be and I almost don't want to ask this question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway because I loved your answer already about how excited you are about the one coming next year that you did 100% yourself, right?
Yeah.
But my
Yeah.
next question, literally on the paper, is who's your dream collaborator? But I think you can answer that, of course. Who would be your dream collaborator? But I do think it's very cool that you're so excited about the one that you're doing yourself. I really think that's cool too.
Yeah. Like everybody, I think honestly, if I wanted to do a dream collab, oh man, I would love to see Lyre and Spawn do something together. That would be pretty
Ooh,
cool.
I love
Like
Spawn.
that would be like something like that. I would love to collab with Blumhouse and do Lyre and some kind of film for that. But
That'd be
yes,
cool.
something like that. That would be pretty cool. I would love to try to do some stuff with independent comics too. That'd be
Mm,
awesome. I love the Rippaverse. I love that. I love the way they're doing stuff over there too. So it'd be cool to have Crescent Blue with a couple of characters over there. So it'd be awesome to do that. I would love to also do it with Cayman America, another independent
Okay.
uh, comic book publishing. I'd love to have one of my characters in there because I have an American type of character in my world that I would love to see out there. So yeah, I have a couple, mostly independent stuff that I would love to see, that I would like to collab with, which is pretty cool. Advanced Genetics, they've backed Liar. I would love to do something with them in the future
Well, that'd
too.
be cool.
Just people who's been in the business, yeah.
Yeah.
Just do something that, and people who's been in the business who've backed me. Wise Acre Comics, I'd love to do something with them with my characters. I have a couple of black characters I would love to have, get off the floor and do stuff with. So that would be pretty cool too. I have a couple of assassins that could work in that world. So that would be pretty awesome to do that with them.
I think it's really cool how how you said indie comic, like with other indie comics, because I've been thinking about that too. And a few interviews ago, guy mentioned it to me, like it was when I first created this, like a week later. And he was like, "Oh, you should just put them in a billboard in my comic." I was like, "Oh, that'd be cool." Just a billboard of Panel Pete, like in his comic
Yeah.
book. Right. And then I started thinking after I started writing my comic, it's like, because part of it's set in a comic shop. And one of my challenges, I was like, man, so if it's in a comic shop, what are the covers of the books that are on the shelf in the comic shop? And how cool would it be is everybody that I've interviewed that's written a comic, their comics are on the shelf in the comic shop in my story. Like, how cool would that be?
That'd be pretty cool, man. I would send you an image in a heartbeat. I'll send you an image
Awesome.
after we're done here so you can put it in there.
So that's part of my goal is to everybody I interview that their comics are going to be on the shelf instead of, like, obviously I'm not going to put a Marvel or DC comic in, my comic book, right?
Yeah,
They're not going to
yeah,
allow that. Not
yeah.
paying for that either. So,
Heck no,
I mean,
heck
unless they let me
no.
put Thor or something in there, I might do that. But Thor's my favorite.
Yeah,
But we'll get there.
that's awesome.
But yeah, I think So that's I actually just made a note to add it to my list. I'm going to ask everybody I interview. All right, can I put your comic in my comic shop? So that'll be
That's
fun.
cool. That's a good idea. That's cool.
What is one thing that you like, piece of advice? Like, we talked about the advice for Kickstarter. What about for creating comic books? Advice would you give somebody like myself or other people that want to create?
Like I said earlier, like make sure your stories are written out, and reach out to other independent publishers or people who've done books before you, and ask them for advice. Because people who've done it before you, they know the ground works. They know how to do great on their Kickstarters and stuff like that. Those are the type of people that definitely I've reached out to be like, hey, how should I do better at my writing? How should I do the panel layouts and stuff like that? That's a big great advice I would give to people, is ask people who's done the best before you, because people who've actually had great campaigns and have done things and are selling their books right now, those are the people who are going to give you the best advice, not the
100%.
people who've just started. The people who just started, they may give you some advice, but and it might work, it might not. But the people who've done it before, they're definitely going to be like, hey, this is how you should do it. This is how you should do your lettering. This is how you should write the story. This is what your characters should do. Make sure you have this plot this way. Make sure your characters for future stories, if you want to write like a to be continued, to just give people a little teaser for next time. So yeah, definitely if you want to get into doing comics, definitely reach out to people that you've seen on Kickstarter who've been doing this for years and know how to get their books published and know what they're doing. Those would be the best people to reach out to first.
I love that. So where are your books available? Shout that
You
out.
can find my books on Mixum. I have a print link that people can literally go to my Mixum print link and they can order my book and it'll get shipped straight to wherever they want it to go. No middleman.
Sweet.
Mixum will print it and it'll ship right to your home. So if you want to get the books I've already had published, the ones that launched on Kickstarter, they're already on Mixum right now. The ones that got successfully funded, I make sure that everyone that gets successfully funded, I put them up there so people, if they missed out on my campaigns, they can go back and get them if they want. And with Mixum, also make sure you can have previews of a couple pages so you can look on the inside.
Sweet.
And if you like what you like on the inside, you can get the book and have it your own.
And then you've got obviously the Kickstarter, so everybody go back to Kickstarter.
Yeah. And
This,
I plan to put my link tree back in. I wanted to
yep.
make sure that people saw my Kickstarter first, so I'm gonna go back after I'm done here and probably put that in there too. Have my other
Yeah.
link in there so people can
Send
check
that
me
to
out
me too, please.
on.
Send me an
Yeah,
email with your
I
link
will.
tree, and I'll make sure that's in the show notes and
Yeah,
stuff for
awesome.
people to go over. So I got a few more fun questions, but then I want to open up the floor for you real quick. Is there anything that you want to cover that I didn't ask about?
You're good, man. I'm enjoying the questions. I enjoy it.
Awesome.
This has been out of left field. I enjoy answering questions that I haven't heard yet. I've had
Okay.
people usually with some podcasters, they usually ask me the same stuff, so I like have it memorized. But you've given me some awesome ones that I'm just like, I'd love to answer it. I love
Okay.
to answer stuff out of the blue. I enjoy podcasters who throw me side balls and side curves. I love that.
Awesome. Well, I was, I try to, I've worked on these questions for a few months now, and I tweak them here and there, but most of them are the same as I've started with. But um, I like opening the floor up a little bit just in case, the last thing I want is to be like the guest to think, dang, I really wish you would have asked me about this. Right. So I always want to give like the opportunity. And I appreciate what you say because that makes me feel, I love self admiration, so pour it on. But you know, uh, I don't ever want a guest to leave and be like, dang, I really wish we would have talked about this, or so
You're good. You give me some great questions, and I actually got to talk about stuff I haven't talked about yet, which is pretty
awesome,
cool. So
awesome.
I'm good, man. The questions are great.
Well, now I got some just fun questions, more just generic. Like who's your favorite superhero or who's your first favorite superhero?
My first favorite was Batman, but I always loved Wildcat from DC. I love that
Okay.
Wildcat was literally the trainer to Batman, and I think he's undervalued in DC way too much because that guy, Wildcat, he's a boxer, but I read his backstory. He knows more than just boxing. That dude is a war machine, and that he's getting older and he's still able to do stuff like that is pretty cool. So Wildcat, yeah, definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Awesome. Do you remember the first comic book you ever read?
Whew. First comic book I read. My wife a couple years ago got her cousin had a bunch of comics, and there was one comic that stood out to me. It was DC 52, and it was Batman Requiem, and it was just the panels. It didn't have any words, anything. It was after Robin died, so Batman was going
Mm,
around just taking out uh, vigilantes and criminals and all of his bad guys.
right.
And you could just see whoever did the art did an amazing job. They showed the portrayal of Batman being angry and he was hurt, but he was still had to do his job and take care of Gotham. And I love that there was no words. It was just you could see Batman in his pain because his pretty much his son was dead. So he would all he did was just take it out on the villains
Right.
that have cost him so much pain. So it's pretty cool to just read that. The art was perfect. I love that there was no words and that you got to just see the emotions on a page. So
Right.
that one, without a doubt, has to be my favorite. I love books that don't say a lot, but they give you enough through the emotions of the character to give you all that you need.
And through
So
the
I'd
art.
love that.
GI Joe
Yeah,
just did that recently. It did like a 6 or 8
yeah,
issue run of the silent. They called them
yeah,
silent missions, and there were no words in any of them.
yeah,
There was one on like each character. I got them. They were pretty good, and it was
yeah.
really
And
funny.
it was great because yeah,
In one of my earlier episodes, I had my oldest daughter on, and I made some joke. I'm dad jokes. I gave her the book, and I'm like, go ahead and read this comic. And she started laughing because in the middle of the episode, because I told her to read it, and there was no words in the whole thing, so it was pretty funny. but,
yeah.
but
I just think if you're if you're able to convey a book like that, you hit it out of the park. Like
yeah,
I think if you can show your characters emotion, you don't need words because people, if you convey it with the best of your ability, like they
yeah,
did, I could tell what was going on. I didn't need to read a
read.
single word because I knew
Yeah, I'm gonna
exactly
look
what
at
was
that. I'm gonna
happening.
look
I
for
could,
that.
yeah. It's called Batman Requiem, and it's a new issue 52,
New issue 50. You don't know
DC
which
52.
you don't know which number is it, do you?
No,
I'll look
I
it up.
got rid of
No
them. I
worries.
got rid of them. But yeah, it'll show because I had like the whole um well, my cousin, he had like the whole list. He only had like one book missing, and I got to read um the Joker when he had his face pretty much ripped off, which was crazy. I didn't expect that type of Joker to be around, but that was pretty cool. I didn't take on Joker without his face, so I thought that was...
All right. Well, the next question: if you could live in any comic book universe, which one would it be?
I'm living in Metropolis.
Okay.
Gotham's too much. Gotham's got is hell.
Yeah.
Metropolis is
Right.
way better. I'd rather deal with Superman's villains. Those are uh, easier than what Batman has. That man has some
Right.
damn noir villains that'll never disappear.
That's a good answer. If you could have any superpower, what would you choose?
Oh man, that's a good one. I love the movie Jumper. I like that where you could jump. If you thought of something in your head, you could be there and do whatever you wanted. I think that's a cool ability to be able to
That's cool.
transport yourself anywhere you think in your head. So that would be a cool ability.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Which comic book character would you want as your sidekick? So if you could pick any character, Batman, anybody, as your sidekick, who would it be?
Oh, my sidekick. It'd probably be Deadpool. I love
Okay.
his quirks and stuff. I think he
Like,
because I love humor, so he'd be funny as hell to me. So I'd be all right. And he pretty
right?
much can't die. So I mean, I'd have a great sword master and comedian beside me. So that'd be pretty cool.
I love that. All right. If your life were a comic book, what would the title be?
Oh my
I
gosh.
know that's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't know even what I would call it. I guess it'd be called Knocked Down and Got Back Up Again because, oh man, and my life has been just, whew, I've had a lot of struggles and stuff in my life, but I've also had a lot of great things. So, I've been knocked
That's
down,
awesome,
but
man.
I've had a lot of, I've been, like I said, I grew up in a broken home. My father was an alcoholic. I watched my mother walk out on me, and I promised I wouldn't be like them. So I made sure I got through high school with top honors. I went to college, got my associate's degree. I went to Bacone College. I was able to just do cool things like that. I had my own family, and then I decided I want to get into art and do that too. So it's had a lot of great things, and I've been able to publish some books. So the storm happened. I've had a few bumps in the way. Therapies
Yeah.
happened. I've had to go and for that, to, get some of that off my mind, and then just I'm here. So, you know, got knocked down. I'm up. Still,
There's a great
sometimes,
theme song for
yeah,
that too.
yeah. So yeah, that's
No,
pretty much
that's
what's in my
awesome, man.
mind. Yeah,
Yeah, I love how every episode it goes back to that, just mental health and the importance of it, and
yeah.
you know, having you seem to have a great outlook and great future, and
Yeah, I've,
you know,
I've always tried. Like even when I was at my lowest, I always tried to have a good outlook on life because I was like, it can't always be this way. Especially
right?
if it's my life, I can make it better, and I did. And it's had its hiccups. I'm not a perfect person. God knows it. I'm not a
Right.
perfect person.
None of us are.
Sometimes life gets the better of me, but I keep going forward. So that's all I can do because I can't go back. I can't replay time. All I can do is just be better the next day.
That's right. Well, I really appreciate you jumping on. With me. You're welcome to come back. Just reach out anytime.
I will.
When
Thank
you
you for
get
having
your
me on. I
next
know
book
it's
or
it's
this book.
been yeah. What people don't know, there's been little side hiccups between here,
Yeah.
but I
No
appreciate you having me
worries.
on, man. Thank you so
Internet's a
much.
thing. It's a stupid
Yeah,
sometimes,
and
but
like I said, I just moved, so I'm trying to hook up the new
mm,
AT&T Air
right.
Wi-Fi that they have. So that's been horrible. I'm literally on my wife's I'm on my wife's hotspot, so it's like
Oh
I'm lucky.
wow.
Yeah, so being on her hotspot's been keeping us alive because our son he has autism and we've been watching Disney movies, so that's what's
Yeah,
been keeping
buddy.
him calm. Yeah, he loves the Good
Yeah.
Dinosaur, and every time I watch it, I'm like I pick the flaws out. I'm like this could have happened better. This could have been better here. The dinosaur didn't
Right.
have to do this. Yeah, I've just been picking it because I've watched it so many days in a row. But I want to just, my wife and son have been just the best inspiration for me. And with Liar, I was able to take some of that, dread that happens in my life and have a character that, in the first 13 pages, you'll get to see a portion of my house. You'll get to read what Liar says about things in that house. You'll get to see my father in the book. I actually drew him in there. So you'll get to see Liar make people pay for their debts in that book, and you'll get to see a cool monster battle of the Lurch. He's an awesome villain that my wife named because I didn't know what to name the character, and she said the Lurch, and I looked it up, and it has a cool meaning behind it. I forgot it off the top of my head. I have it written down, but if you look up the Lurch, it's a definition I think about of moving tendrils and stuff like that. So, and this character has that, and I didn't even know that until I looked up his name. So his name literally fits him, which was
Fits him
perfect.
perfectly.
Yeah, so it was awesome to just she gave me that name, and I'm like, that's actually really cool to go with that character because it's almost him to a T.
Right.
So yeah, so it's just been a great ride, and I'm just proud of it. Like I started here, I'll show this off if it can pick it up. Oh wait, it can't. But it's just a picture of my original art for the book, and then I'm gonna. If people want original art, I have my 50 pages here, right here in front of me, so people can get a physical copy of the
That
book if
was
they
really
get.
cool.
Yeah, so if people want a physical piece of the book, they can have it, because all it's gonna do is pretty much sit in my folder that I have it in. I would love for it to have a home where it can be shown off for people to see. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
And you can
just
sell it at conventions too.
yeah.
When you
I
go,
plan
so
to do that a lot too, because I can get prints of them too with
you
whatever
get
pages I
prints
have
and
left.
sell the
Yeah,
prints or sell originals for even more.
yeah,
That'd be pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Well,
But
dude,
thank you again
this
for
was
having me on.
awesome.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
thank you for being on.
I always love talking to people who, are either getting started or have been here for a while. So hear that you've done 30 episodes and I'm here right now, right in the middle, because I know this is going to go up and up, because there's going to be a lot more
Well, I
creators
appreciate that.
I know there's going to be more creators who are going to reach out to you. I know that without a shadow of a doubt, because I've seen more projects go up on Kickstarter daily. So I know there's going to be people reaching out to you probably by either the end of this week or next week or the next month. There's going to be people trying to
Yeah.
reach
Oh,
out and
yeah.
find it. Yeah. So
And people seem
you
to
got a great home.
enjoy the episodes, so
Yeah.
I've been getting
And
a
I
lot of
watched a
good
couple of them.
feedback. So
I saw my friend Ronnie from Radical Comics. I saw him on
Ronnie,
there.
yep,
So I
he
watched
was
him.
awesome.
I watched him on there. So that's when I was like, maybe I should reach out and see if
I
I can
did
be on here.
Elijah from Radical. I just did
Yeah.
Zay from Radical. That one's not out yet. That one's going to come out at the end of September.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done 3 or 4 of the Radical guys.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah,
So
because they have great characters over there too. All Star's is a great cool character. So
right.
I like All Star. All Star's pretty awesome. And the Pen and Pad, he's an awesome guy. They're doing a collab together. So there's a bunch of indie comic people together doing like a little fight with all their independent characters. So one of my characters, Night Steel's in there. So
Sweet.
I've been trying to talk to the guys about maybe publishing that as a book, to have the independent book for when they do the independent battles, to have it, try to sell it. So that would be pretty cool. So yeah, I've been throwing ideas over there. But yeah, Ronnie knows what he's doing. Radical Comics knows what they're doing over there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, shout out to Radical. He's come up a lot in the episode, so it's pretty cool. Which is fine. I love we're all in this, like I told Ronnie, we're all in this together, Said that earlier.
Yeah. And it's just awesome, and I have a great outlook. Wakeverse is gonna be awesome. Wake Comics is gonna do great. Like I said, I'm a slow train. I'm a slow train. The wheels are turning, and they're getting a little faster and faster as the year going on. So I've only been doing these books for like 3 years now, putting them out on Kickstarter. So I'm getting there. I'm getting that slow moving train on the track. So I'm working hard behind the scenes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again.
In a world of heroes, villains, and epic stories,
Braha, Anakan, and their ultimate sidekick, Panel Pete, take you on adventures each week.
showing off their comic book hauls,
Fun trivia and games, honest reviews,
and inspiring conversations with the creators and consumers who make it all possible.
Join in on the conversation.
This is Talking Comics.